topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Donna Campbell live with Real Estate Dreams and Beyond, joined by my lovely co-host, Miss Jen Banning.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Mortgage boss, right?
Woo! Your biggest fan.
That's right. Jennifer Banning, we always do that. That's
right. Your biggest fan. It's the thing.
Well, we are missing Lucia Corral and Jeff Enos today from Elsie's Credit Solutions as they prepare their children to go off to school. So I hope that everyone knows that today is the first day of tax-free in Florida for back to school. And that goes through.
I didn't even know that was a thing. So what is tax-free in Florida for back to school? Like, can I go get a Botox or something tax-free? Does that count?
No.
No. Okay.
But that's you can go buy your backpacks, children's uniforms, their school supplies, lunch boxes, a new bicycle if they need one for school, and benefit from tax-free. This also applies to computer equipment, laptops and etc. So it's always a great tax break for Florida. And one of the other things that's going on right now about taxes in Florida that Jen and I just found out about is freedom tax. Is that correct name for it? Freedom tax. It is basically for camping, boating, children's athletic equipment, binoculars, sunglasses, and there are limits on those, and you can find the exacts about that on the Palm Beach County Tax Assessor's website, as well as it puts on everything else that goes on throughout the year. Like there was just recently gas ranges were a tax-free event as well. And there's different ones that go on all year long. So the big thing on the tax assessor's website right now is that the new tax assessments are basically coming out, right?
Yeah, the trim notices.
The trim, that's the word I was looking for, Jen. Yeah, the trim notices are coming out, and well, everybody just can't wait for that, right?
That's right, because they can't wait to get that surprise. Like your neighbor sold their house for $400,000 more than what you bought your house for 5 years ago. And so guess what? Which is also that's kind of been the downside for people who have owned property, who have owned their properties for 5-6 years. So they got great prices on the property before the big boom, but then this big boom has really, swung, the taxable values higher.
Yes, and it's different if you homestead versus not homesteading, right? Because on homesteading, we can only raise it up so much.
Correct.
Over a 10-year period, I think it is. I could be wrong on that. But anyway, we have some tax breaks for the tax bill, right?
Yes, which is perfect. We all got to do what we got to do to make things a little bit easier out there.
That's right. And speaking of the market, I think we should just jump right into it. What do you think, Jen?
I agree. Jump right into it. There's some impressive numbers. I was kind of when you were showing some of those slides earlier, I was surprised.
I know. Well, I always think every month it can't get any higher than it is, right?
That's what I think too. I just keep on waiting. Like I keep waiting to see like a minus sign, that negative in front, and it's just not happening. Like that's the one thing that I've been telling people for the last year is values are not going to go down. And I'm glad I was not a liar.
Right. Yeah, they definitely are not going down. Well, our show today revolves around the condo market, but we always want to cover condos as well as single family homes. And generally, we've been covering single family. So today, I've got all of those slides ready for you. And if you want to go ahead and put the slides up, I'll just start wherever you want to put me. We've got 4 counties to look at. We have condos as well as single family homes. And it's pretty darn interesting. So let's start in St. Lucie. I want everybody to remember that when we're talking about the median sales price, that's for the sales that went on within the month of June, okay, versus last June. So St. Lucie County for single family homes, down 2.3%. The median sales price there is $390,000. And this is the only county that shows a decrease in median sales price. However, the median sales price in St. Lucie County versus Martin, Palm Beach, or Broward is an easy $200,000 less. Right, Jen?
Yeah, correct. And what I find very interesting in this is how few listings Palm Beach County had, in the month of June. It was down 44% from June 2022, right?
Well, I don't know. We have St. Lucie up right now.
No, that's what I'm saying. That. Oh, sorry. Did I say another county?
Yeah, you said Palm Beach.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant St. Lucie. Sorry. It's down 44%. As far as listings, not price, but just the listing, how many listings there are.
How many new listings that are up. Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. And then the active inventory is down. And I think that makes sense because we have seen a migration of people moving from the more southern counties a little more north. Especially see this I'm seeing it in a lot of different ways. I'm seeing people who have raised their kids in Loxahatchee and now are moving to Port St. Lucie because they can cash out on their house in Loxahatchee because it is at top value out there. Right? I mean, it'll probably go up more because they have land, but they can move to Port St. Lucie and get a brand new build, and really maximize on the return that they had from the sale of their home. But we also see a lot of new families, those beginning the family life, moving that way because it is more affordable on the sales price, right?
Oh yeah, you can buy a new construction home for $350, $390 in Port St. Lucie.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, next slide, please. St. Lucie townhouses and condos. Well, the one thing I want to say is St. Lucie County is really not known for being a big condo market, right? They're there for sure, but not as much as you will see in Palm Beach or Broward County.
Right.
Active inventory, they have only 395 townhouses and condos for sale in a county. Their new listings are up. No surprise there.
Right.
Dollar volume is down and closed sales were down, but the median sales price for a condo in Port St. Lucie is $280,000 for the month of June, down 12% from a year ago. All right. Next slide, please. Martin County single family homes. Okay, let's just reflect back to Port St. Lucie is at $390,000. We're going to jump up by $208,500 and Martin County for the median sales price on a home, up 1.4% over last year. New listings are down. Active inventory is up. So different than what we see in Port St. Lucie.
Right.
Correct?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And
Go ahead.
And that's why I tell buyers who just keep on saying that, oh, I'm going to wait for interest rates to come down to buy. I'm like, I don't know. Are you sure? Because look at house prices are going up so fast, and I feel like everybody's going to jump in the market at the same time. And then there's already not very many listings.
Right.
The inventory is still fairly low.
Well, let's go on to townhomes for Martin County, if that's what's next. All right. So we've seen, what was the average price in Port St. Lucie? $289,000.
Correct. Yep.
And now we're up to 305 in Martin County. Again, Martin County is not as heavily populated as Palm Beach or Broward.
Right.
And it doesn't have the same amount of condos that you will see just a little bit south of there. New pending sales are up in Martin County. I think it's a very desirable county for people to want to go to. The dollar volume is up. The inventory is up. New listings are down, and closed sales are up by 18%, 10% on condos.
Like all of that is just good news, right?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. I do too.
Next slide. Broward County single family homes. Look at this price jump.
That's crazy town. Crazy town.
We went from $598 in Martin County, and now we jumped up another $17,000 in median sales price for Broward County. Up 4.2%. Active inventory is up a little bit over last year. New listings are down. Dollar volume is down. They did $1 billion in Broward County in single family homes.
Wow, that's a B with a B, billion.
Yeah. Now, last month, Palm Beach County did 1.7 billion.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see what shows up when we cover, Palm Beach.
Right.
Okay, I'm ready to see the condos in Broward. Let's see it. Okay.
I'm taking a picture of this. I have a client to send this to.
Isn't that interesting? You just told me about that client. It's very interesting on that. Okay, so $280,000 on the median sales price. And for our listeners who are not local, Broward County is Fort Lauderdale. That's the center of Broward County. So it basically is about, 10 miles south of Fort Lauderdale, or maybe 8 miles south of Hollywood would be the end of Broward County. And it goes all the way up basically to Deerfield Beach. And then Boca Raton is Palm Beach County. So that's something that people can usually familiarize with. So we have an average price there of $280,000. I am not surprised that active inventory is up 41% there. New listings are down, but with that much inventory up, it doesn't really matter, does it? They did $530 million in dollar volume. So we just seen $1 billion in single family homes out of Broward County and $530 million in townhomes out of that same area, which is, half of the single family home sales, right? It's a little better than that, actually. Okay, next slide. It's time for Palm Beach, where I didn't think it would go up again, but
Drum roll.
Okay. So Palm Beach County, $325,000 for a townhouse or a condo.
Wow.
Way above what we see anywhere else, right?
Yeah, and that's just the average. Obviously, it goes up significantly from there, depending on the location.
Yeah, just the average sale. Now, 663 million in volume. That's, 100 million more than Broward County did in townhouses and condos. Closed sales down 3.8% over last year. And next slide.
Wow. Looks like there's a technical difficulty with the next slide. So
that's the one I loaded up. He has to pull it from, So anyway, I can tell you that Palm Beach County's average price is $625,000 for a single family home, up $3,000 over last month. I thought that was I really thought it was going to drop, but
so those people who bought their house a month ago, odds are their house is worth $3,000 more just because it's existed for the month, correct?
Well, hard to say. Be based upon whatever they bought,
Right. No, but if they bought like an average single family home, that's not a dive in a normal neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? That there's a good chance that house in 1 month is worth $3,000 more. Yeah, increased in value. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what I see is, there's pockets around the county where you're getting more for your real estate than you might in another area.
Right.
That acreage, the Wellington, those areas seem to be just Jupiter Farms, still really just adding on the volume and sales. So, well, that's our real estate market update for right now. So it kind of gives you an idea where we're at. We have a lot of investment opportunities out there still. It's a very entertaining market, I would say. It's different than it was last year because we don't have the rush from the Northeast buying out blocks. However, you can see it steadily still gaining additional value.
Right. I agree. Well, I think that what happened is I know I saw a lot of my local people jump back into the buying market once the rush from the Northeast kind of slowed down because they realized that then there were a few more opportunities where they could actually write a purchase contract and then go through the process without needing $50,000 extra in cash, in order to obtain go under contract on the property. So I think that definitely, helps. So providing they could qualify with the increased interest rates, then those people are buying, especially with the Hometown Hero program. That's been a big push, given a big push for those first time home buyers to get into homes here in Florida. So.
Oh my gosh, I see why he says it wouldn't download. I was going to try to cover those. Well, let's just jump in, Jen, to the condo market, and let's just talk about some wins and some struggles and what people need to prepare for, because condo buying is very affordable on face value.
Yes.
So we just, and I'm going to tell you that there's still great values out there, folks. Like, just because you see these hikes doesn't mean that there's not some great values. I mean, if you want to live on the ocean, let's just be clear, you're going to pay for that.
Yes.
And an HOA fee.
Oh, yes, ma'am, you will, because that salt water eats the outside of the buildings and the HOA fees are very high. Yeah.
Yes. And if you want to live on the ocean, you can probably do that from $300,000 easily.
Oh, yeah.
It's
South
just
Palm Beach, absolutely. South Palm, you could.
South Palm Beach is a great. I love a few buildings over there. I really love the Patrician. Yeah, it was just recently remodeled.
They've remodeled a bunch of them. They've gotten facelifts on the outside. They look so much modern. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the things that you have to think about are, what if your seawall needs to be redone, right? And what type of assessment can that bring to an owner?
Yep.
HOA, not everybody's familiar with that terminology. I realize I was talking to some people back in my home state, and they had done real estate but weren't familiar really with homeowners associations, right?
I feel like homeowners associations are such a bigger thing in the state of Florida. I lend all over the United States, and There's pockets in other parts of the United States that maybe single family communities have HOAs or, but it's nothing like we have here in South Florida. I would say probably 80% of our inventory has some sort of HOA, just a ballpark.
Well, on condos, it's a definite. Okay.
Well, on a condo and a townhouse, 100%. 100% of them have a homeowners association, which is a HOA. And that's where basically there is a governing body that has made up rules about how that building, if it's a condominium building, or how the organization is going to run. And there's can be rules about everything, like what your minimum credit score is to get into the building to be approved through them. They can tell you when you can put your trash can out and when you cannot.
They can tell you if you can have a pickup truck or if you can't.
Correct. If you can have marketing on the outside of your vehicle. I know I lived in a condominium building for a year or so, and there was a gentleman who worked for a company that he had a company vehicle, and it had all the company's marketing like on the outside of the vehicle. And he literally had to cover his car every single night with like a car cover because that's the only way that it could be,
I know somebody else doing that too. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, they, I'm just gonna, we had a condo at one of those South Beach ones where they just got the whole exterior redone, redid their seawall. And it's a $78,000 assessment to the owners.
What?
$78,000.
Wow. So I need to tell the people in my HOA that because we're just trying to get $1,000 out of everybody to be able to do some erosion control on the beach area.
Yeah.
Wow.
Take them over to 3450 Ocean Drive. Anyway, it's beautiful and they did a great job. But, if you own something like that, let's say you just bought it for $300,000 and you can't really afford an extra $700 a month in assessment fees for a very long period of time or even more, or come up with a big lump sum to put down on that, you could really get yourself in a place to where you need to sell.
Correct.
And then if you need to sell because you do have an assessment, the buyer on the flip side of that has to be very knowledgeable about what they're purchasing, right? It is not like buying a single family home.
No, that's why I tell all of the people that come to me that don't have a realtor and they want to buy condos. I'm like, you need a realtor who understands the condo market, and you need to work very closely with me because there's lots of different nuances about buying in condominium buildings. Like people ask me, well, what's my minimum that I can put down? And my answer is always, well, that depends.
The association could have a rule to begin with.
Yeah, the association could have a rule to begin with. Absolutely. And then sometimes you can put 3% down. Sometimes, if that building doesn't have enough reserves, which means what is a reserve? So the homeowners association has a budget that they have to approve every single year. So the total sum of that budget of what their expenses is, they need to put 10% of that budget every year into a savings account or a reserve account in order to pay for future repairs. If that HOA is not doing that, and I've seen many times that the condo associations, that they put it out to the vote to the members who own there, and the people who own there say, oh, no, we don't want to fund that reserve. And if they say that and they vote for that and they don't collect that reserve, then if you're a new person trying to come in and buy, you have to have 25% down.
Wow.
So
yeah, if you just were out being an excited first-time home buyer, you would never think about, I need to check on the condominium's reserve. So it is really important that you're working with someone like Jen,
mm-hmm.
Dan's biggest fan.
Yeah.
and Donna Campbell.
That's right. Who know the condo market. Matter of fact, I had another realtor this morning reach out to me, and she took a condo listing, and she was like, I don't know, Jennifer, like, can I say, what do I need to say the minimum down payment is? I said, well, send me the budget, because the budget really depends on, what can be done, what can or cannot be done in regards to the down payment. So
yeah, I would say for the most part on the contracts that I wrote, there are a few that require 10 and 20% down.
That is written, that's written in their bylaws, correct? Yep.
And then I would say the majority of those purchases are at least 5% down. And then there are a few 3.5% down or 3% down when it's a townhome.
Yes.
Versus the condo,
Yeah, there's a big difference. So condos, when I'm approving people to purchase a condo, there's a whole extra layer of lending in the condo arena. So townhouses, the financing works exactly like how a single family purchase would go, where we're approving the actual borrower and then, appraising the property to make sure that the value is there. In condominium lending, we are approving the borrower. We are appraising the specific unit to make sure the value is there. But then we are also having to approve the HOA. So we're making sure that that HOA is actually running things the way that it needs to be ran. So we're checking to make sure that they have proper insurance. Believe it or not, there are many buildings who do not have proper insurance on the buildings. As a matter of fact, that's a big thing in South Florida, where there's new rules coming out saying that they want the condo insurance to include specific catastrophic events, listed in their homeowner's insurance that the building itself has.
I.e. like flood insurance.
Like flood insurance, like hurricane wind, wind insurance. That's a huge thing down here in South Florida. Flood, wind. And then I even saw one time, I had a past client call me, and she's like, Jennifer, she said, I'm being told that the flood insurance on my condo unit was dropped, and now the bank is putting self-imposed flood insurance. And I'm like, wait a minute, girl, you're on the 5th floor. I'm like, you don't have flood insurance. And this was like 2 years ago before rules had changed. I said, you don't have flood insurance. You're on the 5th floor. Yes, you're on the intercoastal, but you're on the 5th floor. And so come to find out, I did some poking around for her. The building itself did not renew the flood insurance. And so they didn't give that renewal to her mortgage company. And so there was this whole big process, and the HOA, actually, I helped her through the process. It took us 3 months to sift out for the HOA to actually do what they needed to do to prove that they had renewed that policy. And it wasn't the homeowner's fault. Like, she had nothing to do with it. It was all the HOA that just didn't do their part to let everybody know that they, in fact, had flood insurance.
Interestingly enough, I just wanted to kind of look at this. We have a total of over 27,000 listings on the MLS right now, which is a pretty normal number.
Yeah.
But 15,325 of those are in condos, villas, townhomes.
Wow, so, really?
Yeah, so about 60%.
And the national average is 10% of loans are condos or townhouses.
And then, if you want to dig deeper, if we look at out of the 15,000, how many of those are HOPA? And HOPA is 55 and over communities for the most part. Some of them got a few different ones. Only 2,800 are HOPA out of the 15,000 that are for sale, which I find that very interesting.
I do too, especially South Florida.
Yeah. And it just means, I guess, that they got bought up, right?
Right. No, absolutely. Well, and my guess is that people, like you said earlier, are choosing to list their properties before the big assessment comes, or, or because the big assessment has already happened and they can't afford to do that.
Also, like, if you look at all of these townhomes, the 15,000 of them, the townhomes and condos, I don't want to leave anything out. I did not pull mobile homes. I'm going to come back to that in a minute, and Jen and I are going to talk about that a little bit too. But if you look at the pricing on condos, because most of us were talking about the average price being around 300,000, right? Because we had 280, 300, 325, something like
Right.
that. When you look at this from a high point, the most expensive condo is how much do you think, Jen?
In Palm Beach County?
Well, it actually comes out of Miami.
Okay, I would say like $10 million.
Times 5, no, times 8, $85 million for a nice
house
at Sunny Isles Beach, right?
Wow,
And
that
then,
is the entire floor.
when you come to West Palm Beach, our most expensive condo is on Flagler Drive at $39,950,000. It's in the Bristol building. And I'm not sure if anybody out there is aware of it, but this is I'm going to say Manhattan, building that they put in right off of Flagler as you're going over the Okeechobee Bridge to Palm Beach. So it's right on the intercoastal. And then
is that the new one that looks like a cruise ship? That looks, every time I go past it in the boat, it looks like the stack of a cruise ship, like it tiers the way cruise ships do. I don't know.
Yeah, it's right there to the left as you're going under as you're going under that bridge, Jen.
Huh. Okay.
And then, a lot of other ones in Sunny Isle, that hover around the 20 million mark. And then we come to Palm Beach on Gulfstream Road, and we have one for 21 million. It is 3 bedrooms and 5 bath townhome. I mean, we're not talking about a 1-1. And then we have another one in Jupiter for 20 million. But then on the low end of it, they can go as low as, I'm going to guess. Well, I'm not going to guess. I'm going to let it load.
I have a condo right now in my pipeline that one of my single mamas is buying, and it's 180,000, and it's not a bad little place. Like, it's small, but it's clean and it's not terrible. And the HOAs are like $250 a month, and it's cheaper than her renting right now.
Well, one of the other kind of listings we have here in South Florida are called equity club memberships, right?
Yep.
And equity club memberships are where you have to pay money outside of the purchase of your home to move in. And basically, you're paying for amenities and privileges to use that community. Yep. So we do have our lowest price condo in the market. It's $49,900. And it is Stratford at Hunter's Run. There in Boynton Beach. We do our run for community outreach there, helping children with disabilities. Every February, we do the run through Hunter's Run. But this is a equity membership club. And generally, your buy-in, I'm trying to pull it up right now, is anywhere from $75,000 and up. I think one's going to be higher than that. But whenever you're getting into HOAs, always you're going to have an HOA fee. But then if you're in an equity club, you're going to have money up front that you need to pay.
Right.
100% in full. This is not a payment plan. So you can buy that beautiful condo for $49,900 and then pay an $86,000 membership fee up front. And then your monthly HOA is $993 on top of that.
Wow.
So, there's there's one example of the equity club with the HOA, but a very cheap buy-in price. So when you really think about that, how much will $900 buy you in house a month, Jen?
Not much. So if you had $100,000 house and you put like 5% down, and we're going to say the interest rate just for round numbers is 7%. So that's 632. So maybe like $150,000 when we're thinking like principal and interest only. Okay. We're not talking taxes and all that kind of stuff. So about $150,000 house.
So when you take this $40-something thousand that they're at 50,000, let's make it 50 because it's 49.9. So we're at 50. Now we're going to add an additional 150,000 to it for the HOA fees, right?
Yep.
And then we're going to turn over here and look at this $85,000 that you've got to pay in full up front. And we're going to add that to that. So now you're really looking at the average price of a condo, right? $288,000 is what it looks like.
And by the way, people, you can't finance that club fee.
No, you cannot. And you can't write it off either.
Nope. So you just got to have the cash, and you just have to really want to live there. Like it be your lifestyle that you want. And there's lots of people, surprisingly, that they do it. And that's, and they're happy to do it because it's the lifestyle that they want.
I'm trying to find a normal low price, that isn't so encompassing the fees.
One thing we've seen a lot of this last year is even like some of the smaller places that are more like the normal places that their HOAs really have gone up just because of the repairs that have needed to be done, on these 40-year inspections.
If you are someone who wants to live in a 55 and older community, you want to do it on a low budget. You want to move to South Florida, Century Village.
Yep.
There are a lot of them, not just in West Palm, but they're in Boca and other places too.
Yep.
That is generally a place where you can buy a condo for, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze, a decent price, but, not have all of these fees and buy-ins and et cetera. If you're doing your move as low as possible, you want a place in Florida, you can go buy a unit at Century Village for $95,000. It is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. And your fee is $375 monthly.
And does that unit need to be remodeled? Like the unit that you're looking at? I'm assuming it would need some updates, right? Being that low?
I would guess yes, but let me look and tell you. They may not even have pictures of the inside. We'll see here in a minute.
I've done quite a bit of lending in Sterling Village.
Actually, it's really not bad. I mean, it needs, but it's not bad.
Okay.
I've seen bad. So.
Wow. Yeah. You're a realtor.
But it's white and bright inside. It does not have new appliances in it, but it doesn't look bad at all. Just for the person who is over 55 who wants to live in a community. And the nice thing about all of these communities, for the most part, for 55 and older, is they are really very active. They have swim classes, water ballet, dancing, socials. So, if you were maybe here by yourself, it would be a great place to just, feel at home and get to know people who are probably, going through the same thing you did. You moved down here and, you're trying to find a great lifestyle to retire in, and this could be it. I know that they even have a beauty pageant at these Century Village because my daughter's girlfriend's mother, our grandmother, who is 91, won.
Wow, good for her.
And she is just so I mean, it's just really, I think it's wonderful because a lot of times, when you're getting older, you can just be comfortable sitting at home. And I think this really pushes you to still be out there, and
Well, yeah, in the pool,
socializing.
meeting people, yeah, doing things. I agree.
And anyway, that's my update. Let's hear what we need to know to buy. I can't believe it's already 3:44, Jen.
It happens. We were born with the gift to talk. So one of the biggest things that happened in the condo market over the last few years is that when a lender looks to see if a condominium building is warrantable. So I had said earlier that we look at the HOA to see if the HOA is up to snuff, with reserves and a few other things. And we call that warrantable. So if their insurance is the right insurance on the building, if they have enough reserves, if they don't have any litigation. So litigation is something that comes up every once in a while that we have to then follow out to make sure that that there's nothing, that the HOA isn't going to be sued for millions of dollars. Usually litigation that I've seen has just been like a slip and fall accident, and there's plenty of insurance, to be able to cover that slip and fall. So we look to see if the condo building is warrantable. There's plenty of condominium buildings in South Florida that are not warrantable. And they're not warrantable because they either have major repairs that are happening on the building that are structural. So if there's any sort of structural repairs being made, although that's good that the HOA is taking care of those things, lenders don't want to lend on that type of building until all the repairs are finished, all the permits are closed. And so therefore, those buildings would be considered non-warrantable until that work is done. Another type of building that we have down here in South Florida, which is a very desirable way for people to buy, is condo-tels. If you're coming down and you want to be able to Airbnb your unit, most condominium buildings don't allow people to Airbnb or short-term rent multiple times a year. They might allow people to short-term rent for 6 months or once or twice a year, but not multiple times. And so there was this pocket of the market where some investors decided to create these condo-tel buildings, and which essentially is like you're in a condominium unit, but downstairs is like a hotel. You've got restaurants, you've got bars, and you've got great amenities. And sometimes these buildings, they rent your unit out for you. If you're not there, there's all kinds of requirements and stuff around it.
I've seen that, yes.
South Florida. Yeah, so Fort Lauderdale actually has quite a few buildings.
Yeah, I was going to say Hollywood is where I ran across to that.
Yes, yeah. Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale, Miami's got a few. But they're very interesting how the buildings are set up. So legitimately, Hilton has one down there. So Hilton can find the temporary renters, the week-long renters that come rent your unit. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, it's not like you have to advertise it. They do it for you.
They do it all. They check the client in. They have the cleaning people. It's the whole thing. And so this is called a condo-tel. But you have to put 25% down, and the financing for those, because it's considered more risky, because it's considered transient. People are coming and going. It's not the same client, not the same people all the time. And so the financing on that type of condominium is, 1%, 1.5% higher than what your traditional, Fannie Freddie would be to finance a condo. But it's a great way to own a piece of property down in Fort Lauderdale, have a check-in desk, feel like you're totally on vacation. Your unit is clean and set up and ready to go. There's a restaurant downstairs. It's a great way to have a second property.
I absolutely agree.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, we just have a couple of minutes left, and one of the big questions I get all the time is, because people look at these and they're not very much money, but they're like, I want to buy a trailer, or I want to buy a mobile home.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
So no financing on that, right, Jim? For most mortgage companies.
It depends. Most mortgage companies, it's no, and it's because the property that the mobile homes are set up on is not owned by the mobile home itself. They're land leases, lot rent, basically. There are some lenders that have a niche in the market that's what they do.
It's possible. So.
Right. So anything is possible. So it is possible to get financing on it. Definitely not something that I do, just because the land underneath that trailer is rented.
You're paying a land lease on it, and sometimes like there's a really nice place in Palm Beach Gardens, but the land lease is $995 a month,
which is like an HOA fee. Like I think of it as an HOA fee, and I actually know where you're talking about. It's beautiful in there.
Yes, it really is. It really is.
What are
we
the prices?
Ran out of time for today, if you can believe that. I'm Donna Campbell. I can be reached at 561-685-6663. And this is Jennifer Fanning, my biggest fan and your biggest fan. And her phone number is
315-651-1433.
Yes, we would love to hear from you. We would absolutely love to help you. We'll be bringing you more updates on our next show, and we'll have some special guests. We are here every Monday at 3 o'clock till 3:50 on W4CY, Real Estate Dreams and Beyond. This is Donna Campbell, your show host, and Jennifer Fanning, wishing you a wonderful week. See you next time.
Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.